Never mind. I take that back. I'm going to cry. All I asked for is one stream. But no. I'm not reading all that. Matpat stunlocked. What?
Than the surface of the sun. And so what happens when you heat water really quickly in an enclosed space? Well, it turns into a gas and expands. It needs a place to go in a hurry. In an instant, the pressure inside the tree builds until finally the gas pushes so hard that the bark can't handle it anymore.
Can I say vaporize?
Literally explode. Wood and splinters are sent flying everywhere, as if we didn't need more reasons to stay indoors playing video games. Now, these splinters aren't exactly homing missiles, but it does show that tree plus water plus electricity does result in flying plant projectiles that can do some serious.
Why did tree, water, electricity make me laugh? Yo, I'm fucked.
Water plus electricity does.
Dude, no way they made Hyperbloom into a real thing.
Result in flying plant projectiles that can do some serious damage on impact. On Genshin Impact.
Wait, is this? Wait, what the fuck? Wait, is this actually sponsored? Wait, is that real?
Impact plus electricity does result in flying plant projectiles that can do some serious damage on impact.
Is this new or old? Well, let me look this up. You are my sunshine. Oh no, this is old. This is 2022. 2023? The deadly plants of Genshin Impact.
Thanks to Genshin Impact for sponsoring today's episode.
Oh yeah, it's right here. I see.
Fruits. But that can't be true in real life, right? If electricity truly made plants stronger and more fruitful, why haven't we heard of it before? How am I able to go apple picking? Wouldn't every farmer ever just electrocute their orchard to try and max out their harvests? Well, when you start to look into it, there's actually a lot more here than meets the eye. Loyal theorists, allow me to introduce you to the new world of an old science, electro-horticulture. This is an old study, but way back in 1746, a researcher—
Wait, what the fuck? I just saw Nahida and Yai.
Which at first might seem obvious, combining two attacks equals one stronger attack, but it also produces a quicken effect.
Wait, this is fire. Do you guys want to watch this? What? I kind of want to watch this. Dude, I want to learn elemental gauge theory from Matpat. Fuck it.
Genshin Impact for sponsoring today's episode. The surface of the sun. And so what happens when you heat water really quickly?
Fuck it, I'm watching this. Dude, if I see a UID in this video, so help me God if I'm not reviewing it. I reviewed Darman and then Matpat. GG.
All right, class, your assignment is to demonstrate reactions incorporating the tree-based element of Dendro. Tartaglia, I see you're using your hydro powers. Very good there. Hutao, yours is
I'm gonna mute alerts for this, but thank you so much for 11 months, Ardo.
Expected there, but
appreciate it.
It's a reaction. Naimiko, how are you getting along?
Show them.
Sorry, Yai, but you'll find that wood isn't a very effective conductor of electricity. I'm gonna have to lower your score.
Emerge.
Oh, that's kind of loud. Okay, they got the voice line. I would use Fischl, but
A+.
wait, how's the volume?
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that loves its waifus, but not as much as it loves its science.
Okay, yo, not to be that guy, but every time someone says waifu, a baby kitten dies. I'm sorry. It literally, like, hurts my core. I can't. I actually can't. Literally, like, it just hurts.
To talk about today, thanks to our sponsor, Genshin Impact. The game has just released their 4th country update. In it, you'll be exploring the new region.
Their 4th country. Yeehaw! Hell yeah, brother. New country.
Full of underground ruins and buried lore. The main story quest focuses on
Sumeru's Peak.
Several characters start to realize that they've been reliving the same day over and over again, which itself has some fascinating scientific implications, but that's not what I want to focus on today. You see, each new party member in Genshin Impact is associated with one of 7 different elements: Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, Electro, Geo, and Animo. But at the start of this new storyline, we're introduced to Nahida, an archon of a brand new element known as Dendro, which comes from the Greek dendron, meaning tree. Now,
I didn't know that. Dendron. See, +1 knowledge now. Now I can say dendron.
More here than just vine whipping and razor leaves. Combat in Genshin Impact is based on creating elemental reactions by combining different elements. Most do what you'd expect. Combine Hydro and Cryo.
What is a gift chat? Oh fuck.
Yourself a freeze reaction.
Yeah.
Combine Cryo and Pyro.
What do you get? Forward melt.
And you get the
I mean, reverse melt. I'm fucking, wow. I'm stupider than fucking, I'm actually worse than this video. It's reverse melt. My bad. I just made it. Okay. I was talking about Diluc melting and I said forward melt. So I'm
melt reaction.
reverse.
So
My
with
bad.
these new Dendro powers, things start to get a little bit more unexpected. Sure, combining Dendro
They had the cryo first. That was forward. True, actually.
with pyro causes burning, and combining Dendro
Yeah,
with
burning's
hydro
garbage.
causes the growth of seeds. Nothing out of the ordinary there. But what really captured my curiosity was when I started mixing plants with electricity. Now, I'm sure we all remember second grade science class where we learned that wood isn't the best conductor of electricity.
I don't remember that.
It seemed to be that way.
But my bad.
If you use Zy0x's electro attacks with Nahida's Dendro ones, your attacks get
Okay, but like, I'm not dumb. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. So when in science class, like I still had good grades, but like I like threw it out of my memory after. Like I didn't do bad. I did good, but like I don't remember shit. Like I like, who cares? Dude, I took advanced maths in like my last high school year and I was like, I don't need to know this ever, but I'm doing it because all my friends are doing it. Dude, all my friends were like fucking math. Dude, they were all, I don't know, whatever.
Combining two attacks equals one stronger attack, but it also produces a quicken effect. And no, I'm not talking about personal finance software here. This is a base effect which increases the damage of your next Electro or Dendro attack, creating either aggravate or spread respectively. Now that alone was unexpected, but even more interesting was when you mixed three elements. Dendro plus Hydro equals Bloom, but mixing in Electro as the third ingredient creates an elemental cocktail known as Hyper Bloom, turning the seeds into guided missiles that seek out the nearest enemy. I don't
My
care
explanation's
how many
better.
gigawatts he got. You are not getting seeds to leap up into the air to become guided missiles, right? Right? Well, I was curious about these reactions and whether or not they were based in some form of reality. So I did a bit of digging, only to find that there's way more to the relationship between plants and electricity than our school science classes would have us believe. So stick with me, theorists, because I got a feeling that today's theory is really gonna grow on you. Outside
Sorry,
of strapping some
that's
timber
fucked.
cables onto my ficus, where can I see the effects of electricity on plants? Well, one of the most common occurrences are during lightning storms. Lightning occurs when particles inside a cloud collide with each other, knocking electrons free, which then attach to other particles. The particles that lose their electrons now have a slightly positive charge.
I know what particles are.
Thus, they go to the top of the cloud. The ones that gain electrons are now heavier and have a slightly more negative charge, causing them to go to the bottom of the cloud. Those slightly negative particles also now need a way to equalize. So when the positive and negative charges grow large enough, that's when you get lightning. It's the discharge as everything equalizes. The ground is also positively charged, which is why lightning is sometimes able to jump downwards towards Earth. But here's where things start to get interesting. You see, air isn't a very good conductor, and lightning wants to take the path of least resistance. That's why it'll strike a lightning rod or a tall building. They're the fastest path to a positive charge.
Or me, because I'm pretty tall, but
metal. And while trees aren't exactly the most conductive, they are tall. So they immediately become a much more attractive option than just traveling through plain old air. And the relationship between trees and lightning doesn't just stop there. Trees are made up of roughly 50% water, with a lot of that moisture contained just below the bark. Meanwhile, a single bolt of lightning can generate temperatures of about 54,000 degrees Fahrenheit, nearly 30,000 degrees Celsius. Believe it or not, that's about 6 times hotter than the surface of the sun. And so what happens when you heat water really quickly in a closed space? Well, it turns into a gas and expands. It needs a place to go in a hurry. In an instant, the pressure inside the tree builds until finally the gas pushes so hard that the bark can't handle it anymore, causing the tree to literally explode. Wood and splinters are sent flying everywhere, as if we didn't need more reasons to stay indoors playing video games. Now, these splinters aren't exactly homing missiles, but it does show that tree plus water plus electricity does result in flying plant projectiles that can do some serious damage on impact.
So you're telling me Matpat made a video explaining why Hyperbloom is broken and people still call it overrated?
Plus water plus electricity.
He made a whole video!
Result in flying plant projectiles that can do some serious damage on impact. On Genshin!
We just learned why it's good!
Tree isn't filled with water. In the game, if you combine Dendro and Electro, one of the effects that you get is...
That's not the effect you get if you play Lisa and Cole. You get fucking depression. Please change your team. I'm sorry. This is not what you're gonna get.
Is aggravate, which boosts the power of your next Electro attack. And that seems kind of weird, right? Why would running electricity through a dry plant plant, make your next electrical attack stronger. Shouldn't have any impact, right? Or maybe even a negative impact? Wrong. This actually lines up with real-world science. In a 2004 Ukrainian study, scientists tested the electrical resistance of a leaf as it's
Never mind. I thought it said Petra. Never mind.
slowly dried up. Now, you would think that as the leaf dries up and slowly dies, that its electrical resistance would increase. Less water left in the leaf would mean less ability
Brain
for
rot.
electricity to flow, right? But no, the drier the leaf
Dude,
became,
Petra's a good I'm sorry. Dude, Petra's actually good. Petra's the only set that no one uses that actually is good. I'm sorry. If Geo wasn't shit, you would see.
electricity was able to flow through the parts of the leaf that were still living. The researchers weren't exactly sure why, but they assumed that it might have to do with a stronger concentration of water and salts in the tissue that was left remaining, allowing for greater electrical conductivity. But regardless of the reason, it yet again proves Genshin right in its scientific principles. The first shot of electricity through a plant is basically paving the way for subsequent shocks to be stronger and more effective. So currently the scoreboard is 2 for 2, which means it's time to look at the final elemental reaction spread to see if Genshin can run the perfect game.
I love me
Spread
some.
is the opposite of aggravate. Basically,
Okay,
you
Kaching Nahida, that's a good team.
mixed with Dendro to make your next Dendro attack more powerful. The game even gives us an in-universe explanation for this relationship. We meet a child,
What?
Sudabe, who tells
Bro, nobody's reading this dialogue.
us that, quote, Electro is good. It makes plants stronger and bear more fruit.
Nobody knew that.
Real life, right? If
Lore
electricity
skipper. I don't skip, dude.
made plants stronger and more fruitful, why haven't we heard of it before? How am I able to go apple picking? Wouldn't every farmer ever just electrocute their orchard to try and max out their harvests? Well, when you start to look into it, there's actually a lot more here than meets the eye. Loyal theorists, allow me to introduce you to the new world of an old science, electro-horticulture. This is an old study, but
Electro what?
way back in 1746, a researcher named Dr. von Miambry from Edinburgh, Scotland, took 2 myrtle trees and ran an electrical current through one of them to see.
And he found that the one that he ran the electrical current to grew taller at a faster rate without needing as much sunlight as the second plant.
It would cause it to grow
Watch.
differently. Now, there aren't many details available about his exact experiment, but from what I could gather, he used an electrostatic generator to pass a current directly through the tree and back down to the ground. And because static electricity runs at a much lower amperage than a lightning bolt, there was no risk of accidental splinter missiles. Instead, after an entire month of being zapped, the tree appeared to have grown taller and had more leaf growth than its non-electrical.
Yes, sir!
This was a huge discovery and could be a great justification for Genshin's claims that adding Electro to Dendro gives you more powerful Dendro. But again, if this was true, why aren't gardeners the world over putting power grids through their fields? To be honest, his conclusions were kind of hard to replicate. Naturally, other scientists saw these crazy findings and conducted similar experiments, but they wound up with mixed results at best. Some claimed that they got the exact same results, others saw no difference, and even more said that their trees outright died due to the electric flow. But if you think a few failed ferns were gonna stop science, then clearly you haven't been watching my videos, in which case you should probably just hit the subscribe button so you can be on top of all the coolest scientific revelations as they relate to modern gen open world video games. It is a very specific niche, but we are good at it. Anyway, at the very start of 2022, scientists decided to take this very old study in a very new direction.
Subscribe. I am subscribed. Oh, just not on my actual YouTube account. Oh, I am. See, I'm subbed.
From the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing attempted to prove that electricity aids the growth of plants. But rather than electrifying the plant itself with static electricity, they decided to instead put the plant inside of an electric field. Basically, they placed the seeds on a metal plate that was connected directly to a negative electron.
Why am I watching this?
Where the seeds were growing was a metal plate connected to a positive
I just wanted to make a hyperbloom joke, and now I'm learning about electricity.
Positive and negative charges
Because it's fire. Okay.
to come together.
You mean pyro?
Of germination, seed growth inside the electric field was 40% higher than the control group. When it came to seedling growth, the electrofield resulted in a growth increase of 15%. All in all, the plants inside the electrofield gave a crop yield that was 20% higher than the control group. Seems bizarre, right? Like, why would being in the presence of electricity change plant growth so dramatically? Unfortunately, the research paper doesn't provide an explanation, but you know what? I think I can. Science has shown that thunderstorms tend to help with plant growth not just because of increased rainfall, rainfall, but also because their electrical energy helps separate the nitrogen atoms that are floating around in the air. These atoms then fall to the ground, where they're absorbed by the soil and eventually wind up inside a plant's roots. The University of Melbourne, though, has a different solution. Maybe electric fields act kind of like natural pesticides. The electricity doesn't bother the plant, but it might scare away insects, acting kind of like a low-level bug zapper. There's also the fact that within an electrical field, water tends to have lower surface tension, resulting in faster evaporation after rainfall or watering. Lastly, it might just be what electricity does to the plant itself, effectively boosting the metabolism of the plant by accelerating the transportation of nutrients like calcium and bicarbonates. Regardless of which explanation is correct, when it comes right down to it, plant growth involves a lot of chemical reactions, and electricity appears to have the ability to affect each and every one.
We're watching a Matpat video on Hyperbloom. You should watch it so you know what the fuck Hyperbloom does.
Them for the better. There you have it, my friends. The electro-dendro effects that we see in the game are absolutely adhering to real-world science. Electricity appears to strengthen, grow, and...
Wait, but dude, this is a bit... Wait, what? Dude, is this guy just like purposefully... Okay, good video, Matpat, but you can't just say Hyperbloom is real and not factor in how hard it is to get EM main stats in the real world. Some of us work 9-to-5 jobs. We can't all get EM main stats. It's not a good reaction.
To strengthen, grow, and spread plants, even causing them to sometimes spontaneously explode out like a bunch of low-flying missiles. Sure, the results may be a lot more bombastic in the game than they are in real life, but when the alternative is literally watching the grass grow, I think the choice is obvious. But hey, thanks again to Genshin Impact for sponsoring today's video. It's been really fun to put the lore down for once and instead focus on some of the
no UID
sciencey aspects of the game. So special thanks to them for letting us roll with something a bit out of the update and hidden Easter eggs to find Pavot event, where you'll receive postcards directly from the characters themselves. Apparently, there are plenty of hidden Easter eggs to find. Something different, there's also the brand new game mode, Genius Invocation.
Whoa, Genius Invocation!
Now has itself a trading card game. Collect cards, play it, and find. And trying out the new Dendro open world game with that'll keep you battery. In the mean.
This plant isn't producing enough fruit. Let's motivate it by giving it a controlled shock. Okay, well. Anyways, where were we?